friends, it's Renee Roque from Women's Council of Realtors, Santa Clarita Valley, and welcome to our Connecting Across the Country. We are bringing you realtors and friends of ours, and we want to talk about how they are doing business in their side of the world. And it's an honor and privilege to introduce you to my friend, Kate Kelly, and Kate's going to tell you about the area that she services. And welcome, Kate. Thank you for being here.
Hey, Renee, thank you so much for the invite. This is awesome. I know a lot of people are like, I have Zoom gloom. I'm over it. I'm like, what? It's never been more convenient or cost effective to collaborate like this. So it's a huge honor. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Glad you're here.
I'm Kate Kelly. I'm here in Colorado. Renee and I met through the Women's Council of Realtors, and I am located in the North Metro Denver area. So I service the entire corridor between Boulder County and the city of Denver. I've been licensed 4.5 years. It feels really good. I was super fortunate to have found Women's Council in my first few months of being licensed, and that was just kind of my realtor family. I was kind of spinning my wheels there for a little bit, being like, what am I supposed to be doing?
Aww.
And Women's Council welcomed me with open arms, so it's been a wonderful journey so far.
Glad to have you here. Now tell us what's your temperature in Denver today.
Oh, okay. Well, today I woke up to 13 degrees and it was very windy.
Whoa.
But by the end of today, it's going to be 50. Tomorrow will be 60, and Friday we'll have snow again. So
nice. Wow. Here in Santa Clarita Valley, it's a bit chilly, but it's just because of the wind factor. Otherwise, I think it'd be 70, 72.
Oh, nice.
Well, Kate, again, thank you for being here. We were having a little bit of discussion about the differences between the market that we are covering right now and your market. So tell us, what have you had to pivot, do differently because of COVID?
First off, open houses are my jam. I've always had really good luck with securing buyer leads and converting buyer leads that I've met through open houses. Mm-hmm. So that was my biggest challenge, because this spring, real estate was deemed essential, but we had a lot of limitations on it. We're very fortunate. The Colorado Association of Realtors has a really good relationship with our governor's office. So we were deemed essential right away. I think it was like 12 hours before that order was amended, adding us in. Unfortunately, open houses weren't allowed. So I kind of had to pivot and be like, okay, well, I have marketing dollars allocated toward this. Like, this is how I was intending to get some buyers. But again, very fortunately, Women's Council has just rewarded me with a ton of great things: education, networking, and now referrals that I've been in it and building relationships for a while. So surprisingly, more referrals than anticipated for this year, and that's kept me afloat. My biggest thing is just really loving on the people in my database, like calling them regularly just to check in, whether it's real estate related or not.
I agree. So, now, can you speak a little bit about referrals and Women's Council and how that works?
Oh my gosh, it's awesome. Okay, so I highly, highly suggest anybody who's involved, like whatever sector of real estate it is, figure out what it is you're passionate about and just start volunteering in that space. So mine personally was education. And I just was like, educated people, whether they're professionals, consumers, or students, anything, educated people are outperforming uneducated people. So that was part of my business plan, was to constantly be getting new education. So that's why I joined Women's Council. And I think that you have to get involved in things that you're interested in, or it's just like so obvious, people can see through that. So that was one of the things. I'm like, if you're living authentically through what you're passionate about, referrals come naturally. So for me personally, it was getting involved in Women's Council. Those start coming naturally. I volunteer a lot in my community. Referrals start coming naturally through that. But again, it's living that through that authenticity, because if you're not, people can see right through it.
Yeah, fantastic. Now tell me, at your price point, what is a first-time home buyer, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,200 square feet home? What are they looking at? What's the price point?
Oh, I'm so happy you asked. Okay, so I have 2 of those buyers right now, first-time buyers. They are looking, and again, I'm right in between Boulder and Denver, so I kind of service that whole corridor between the 2 cities. Boulder is one of the most expensive cities in Colorado because it's a college town. It's got that lifestyle. It's constantly winning awards for best country or best city, best landlocked city, most healthy city, things like that. Denver, on the other hand, is very unique because it has such a diverse economy with oil and gas, the tech, medical, all of that stuff that's coming in. So we have seen I would say in the last 3 years, probably a 10% increase in home prices in Boulder County.
Okay.
In Denver County, we have seen a 10% increase just this year in the last 12 months.
Wow.
So
much
and I'm
faster.
so happy you asked because I was like, I need to know these numbers better. So as of last month in the county of Denver, the average sales price was $650,000. That's up 9.5% in the last 12 months. And the city of Boulder is right around the same. The city of Boulder is actually at 1.15 for average sales price. So there's a big difference between those two. I will say you can find, and this is so wild to think that entry level pricing is between $400 and $450 in our market.
Wow.
So as of right now, I have a first time buyer. She's in her late 20s. She's been working at her job for 4 or 5 years, and she is looking right around $450 in that kind of same house that you just described. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, single family, preferred garage, preferred no HOA. The biggest challenge that we are experiencing, though, is those entry level and those first time buyers at the 400, 450 level, is that they are competing against investors.
Yes, absolutely.
Competing against people who've got cash in the bank. So it's tough out there. I actually wrote her an offer, this buyer I'm thinking of. I wrote her an offer on Sunday for a house that was listed at $425. We went in at $450. We were one of 19 offers.
Whoa.
And we were not even in the top 3.
That was my second question. That's what we're experiencing here in Santa Clarita Valley as well. And
Yes.
we have to we're competing against 19, 20 offers. Absolutely. And probably first day on the market or first or second day on the market?
Yes. Yeah. So that's the thing. And a few colleagues of mine, we have found success in finding that home that's been on the market for like 10 to 14 days. That's like a touch overpriced.
Yeah.
Because those sellers are like, well, what the heck? Everything else is selling. Like, what? I was like, you got some good wiggle room there. It's like, you're not competing. You've got more room to negotiate. So kind of giving those properties a second look that might be a touch overpriced that have been on the market for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Even wild to think like 2 weeks is a long time on market, but
it is a crazy market with low interest rates too. It's just a crazy market. It's a lot of competition out there. That's why it's really very important to get with your realtor as soon as you know that you're capable of buying, or if you're thinking about it, if you have the dream in your heart, get with a realtor. They put you on a plan. We also start looking for homes right away. That's what we do, since we live and breathe this every day. And let me ask you another question. I think it was very fascinating, our conversation a little earlier. Let's share that with everyone, that I was sharing that we are closing a house here in Santa Clarita. The sellers are going and buying a home in Texas. We've been waiting for a while with the holiday we have funding on one day in California, recording on another day, and depending upon when it records, the sellers will have their proceeds that day or the next day. And trying to explain that to a Texas realtor who says, wait a second, that's not what we do things. How do you operate? What's going on with you, Kelly? How's a closing table for you? What does that look like?
Oh, that's such a good question. That was one of the things that fascinated me about Women's Council too, is learning how it happens in all the other states. So Colorado is very unique. We are table funding. So it's a lot of fun. Before COVID, it's a big round table. We're all at the title company for closing. So you've got the closer for the title company, seller, listing agent, buyer's agent, and a lender if they're financing the property.
My gosh, that's fascinating to me.
It's like we've all gotten them, sellers want to sell their house, buyers want to buy their house. If they don't like one another, it's our fault as the agents. So it was so much, and this is pre-COVID. Now, ever since the pandemic hit, we're doing separate signings. So buyers will sign in one room, sellers will sign in another room. And that's just for, limiting contact tracing and all that stuff, and curbside closings if need be. But, in Colorado.
Coming together, I love that idea of doing that, because we want it all to be a very smooth transaction and a win-win for everyone, and our job is to bring the fix. So I just love that, but it's just so foreign to what we do here in California.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I would say probably 8 or 9 times out of 10, buyers are getting the keys to their new house like at the closing table.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it's like sellers sign all their stuff, buyers sign the loan document, sign the title stuff, and then it's literally like slide the keys in the garage door opener across the table. It's so much fun.
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine that. But I really appreciate you sharing that with us. But I would
Well,
love
I
to
have
have that
a
happen.
question for you. If you guys are funding, recording, and then keys and like the wire gets sent and everything on separate days, how does that go for you guys? Do you have attorneys involved or does the title company handle that sort of stuff?
Yeah, escrow and title. Escrow and
Okay.
title. And we sit back and obviously we're in the communications trying to make sure that everything happens on time. But that's one of the escrow and titles. You have to choose your trusted escrow officer and title people that will handle it. And once for funding, that we just sit back and it's handled by them and we stay in the communication. But
Cool.
yeah, we don't have attorneys here. That's an East Coast thing.
Okay, yeah, that was another thing that I found interesting as well. I was like, well, nobody's dying, nobody's getting sued. What are we calling attorneys for?
Right. A whole different world. And I would
Yeah.
love to interview someone on the East Coast too to understand that because when I have a buyer from the very beginning, I'm with them through the entire transaction and to the very end, handing keys or making sure the sellers receive their proceeds. And it's different in different parts of the country. So it's very interesting to see the different dynamics. So thank you. Thanks,
Well,
Kelly.
I have a quick question for you because I didn't ask it when I was going off on my tangent. Is what is the average sales price in your market? What is like, days on market? Have you guys seen a spike?
Oh, as far as sales price,
Yep.
definitely we used to be able to say it was 550 is our standard sale. That's our 550. It's hiking up definitely in the high fives. Let's see. Someone recently asked me about a 250 home. Even our senior communities, affordable housing senior communities, 250. It's gonna get you a 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 250 in a senior community. Even maybe if we can find one of those. But anything, a first time home buyer, as far as a condo, we're looking at the 325 range for sure.
Okay.
With
We're
HOAs, it's 375, 400. So
per
tough.
month.
Yeah, per month. Challenging.
And
But
that makes it tough for the affordability part too, is when you have those high HOAs. We're seeing here, and I would love to kind of hone in on some other city markets, is our single family homes are flying right now.
right.
But our average days on market for condos and townhomes is up, and the appreciation is not nearly as fast as single family homes. So I'm curious. I don't know. I'm not an economist, but I've got to think that that's something to do with the pandemic.
Well, yes, I believe so. I believe that's true because people want to be in a home. If this continues, they want to be in a home. We do have a listing that's a townhouse attached, and it stayed on maybe a little longer than we had thought it would. I think it was about 12 days, and then we finally got it into contract. But I believe you're right. People want to have their own space. Especially, I had a family home in Hollywood Hills that we were taking care of. Many people from New York were applying for that home. Many people, or the Wilshire Corridor here in Los Angeles. They just wanted to they didn't want to have to deal with an elevator and people. They wanted a space and a home and to breathe. So pandemic has made us adjust to a lot of different things, that's for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you. One last question for Kate, because I know you have to run. You have a very busy day today, and congratulations on all your success. A little bit about the Leadership Institute. Congratulations to you.
Oh, thank
For Women's
you.
Council, our Leadership Institute. Tell us it's a year-long commitment. What gives?
Yeah. So worth it. So worth it. So one of my colleagues here in Colorado, her name's Carrie Harger. She's up in Fort Collins. She was part of the first class. So the first class was kind of like an invitee sort of thing, and they were the guinea pigs. And then she had encouraged me to apply for the next year, which was the 2020 class. So we got the call September of 2019 that it would start in December. And I mean, COVID hit. So we were so fortunate that we actually got to go to Chicago before the pandemic hit.
Oh, you
So
did.
our entire Leadership Institute class for 2020, and the entire leadership team for the National Women's Council of Realtors, we were all in Chicago when the pandemic hit. And like when NAR blasted out the email being like, we are halting all non-essential travel. Like we were literally in the realtor building when we got that email.
Wow.
So we were really, really, I mean, and this is the thing. It's like, yeah, this year is so strange and we're all having to pivot and adapt, but we were so fortunate that we at least got those 3 days together before the pandemic hit. And then everything else was done virtually. So it's kind of wild to think that like I've now made friendships that are going to last a lifetime. And I've honestly only met these women once.
Wow.
Maybe one.
Those memories that no one can take them.
360
markers of time. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a lot of fun. There is a time commitment to it because it's a year-long commitment, but it's nothing like too crazy. They're not giving you like several hours of homework each week and each month. We read a book, we do a lot of training. There's a lot of good speakers that come in, some self-reflection, and then they break us up into smaller groups. Mm-hmm. And then of those 3 groups, we built a program to present at National. So the fall conference at the beginning of November.
We really loved yours. Be true to you. We loved yours.
Yeah. Hashtag be true to you. We had an absolute blast doing that. And it was really cool because those girls actually flew out to Denver and we got an Airbnb like right before the restrictions tightened up again. Uh-huh. So it was really good. We kind of locked ourselves in an Airbnb for a few days and did the conference together.
Oh, that's awesome. Well,
and you're next year, correct?
Yes, next year. That's right, 2021. I'm excited for that as well.
So you guys have such a good class too.
Yeah, really excited. We've been sort of touching base across the country. It's wonderful. It's just Women's Council has been has a very special place in my heart for amazing people that is across. I think our world is so small. And my father always said, if we only spoke each other's language, we would understand we're all the same. We're all the same. We're hardworking. We just want the best for our families and the world. So it's been a pleasure to speak to you today, all the way in Colorado. Wish you the best today with all of your appointments that you have scheduled up for the rest of the day. And
thank you.
Any closing words you want to say?
No, thank you so much for the opportunity. I love this idea. And if you want some folks on the East Coast.
Yes. All right. But thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
It's Renee Roque from here in Santa Clarita Valley, Women's Council of Realtors. Appreciate you guys and see you next time for Connecting Across the Country. Bye, Kate. High five.
Bye-bye.